Welcome to Diplomatic Perspective on Global Television. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Now let's bring you some stories from around the world. Poor countries must not leave COP29 empty-handed. This is a statement that came from Guterres. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said nations at the COP29 summit must reach a deal that does not leave poor countries empty-handed in their fight against climate change. Developing countries must not leave Baku empty-handed. A deal is a must, Guterres said in the capital of Azerbaijan, which is hosting the summit.
COP29 must tear down the walls of climate finance. Developing countries must not leave Baku empty-handed. A deal is a must, and I'm confident it will be reached.
Another story says the nations approve new UN rules on carbon market at COP29. Governments at the COP29 talks approve new United Nations standards for international carbon markets in a key step towards allowing countries to trade credits to meet their climate targets. On the opening day of the UN climate talks in Azerbaijan, nearly 200 nations agreed a number of crucial ground rules for setting a market in motion after nearly a decade of a complex discussion. COP29 President Mukhtar Babiev hailed a breakthrough, but said more network and more work was needed.
Based on the Presidency's board and inclusive consultations, I trust that this proposal is acceptable for all. I now invite the CMA to adopt the draft decision contained in document PA/CMA/2024/L.1.
Now to Iran, as Iran nuclear chief promises countermeasures against any foreign pressure. Iran will take immediate countermeasures against any resolutions by the United Nations Nuclear Agency's Board of Governors that interferes with its nuclear program, says its nuclear chief during a joint news conference with the agency visiting Director General, according to Rafael Grossi. Now to the United States, where Trump's top team are firebrand and stalwart. The United States President-elect Donald Trump is building his administration ahead of retaking the White House in January, handing top roles to a mixture of political allies, outright firebrands, and a few relatively conventional figures. These are the key nominations so far, some requiring potentially difficult Senate confirmations unless Trump can circumvent scrutiny through a process called recess appointment.
It is right now, and we've been able to work across the conference to eliminate the controversial issues that could have divided us and move forward together to deliver on the President's agenda.
He wants to do what's right for the conference and for the country, and I'm confident he will. He's going to do an extraordinary job in his position, as is Elise Stefanik, and I'm sure Matt Gaetz. I believe they'll all do very well.
Today, we are, just as Dr. Harris said, because of this agreement, we are in a better position to move forward the Republican agenda to make sure that Speaker Johnson, South Dakota Senate Leader John Thune, and our President Donald Trump have an opportunity to go forward and do good things for America.
Still in the United States, U.S. Ambassador says Mexico anti-crime strategy did not work. The statement, which was made by the United States Ambassador to Mexico, Ken Salazar, says that scrutiny is a very big Mexico problem during his first press conference since the election of Donald Trump. He adds that he hawks no bullet strategy promoted by the Mexican government to combat violence, that did not work. Now we are going on a quick break. After this break, we'll return. And on return, we shall be looking at the right of people at the diaspora. And I will be joined by an international human rights activist Comrade Gerard Kashi, where we look at the plight of some Nigerians and some people who are in other countries of the world, how they are faring, how is their fundamental human rights being treated, and all of that will come after this break when we get into the discussion proper. Good to still have you there on Diplomatic Perspective. Welcome back from that break. We said on return from the break, we're going to talk about human rights internationally, okay? And of course, the right of Nigerians in Europe, the right of Nigerians in Asia, the right of Nigerian citizens across different borders of the world, how Nigerians are being treated, how are Nigerians behaving? What is the intervention of the government in every inhuman treatment given to Nigerians abroad? That's what we'll be looking at today. And joining me on the conversation for Diplomatic Perspective today is Gerard O. Kashi. Gerard O. Kashi is an international human rights activist, and he is the National Secretary, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights globally. It's good to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, we're looking at human rights today. A lot of Nigerians, they hear it all the time. Human right, human right. But some persons may not know what human right is all about. So when we say human right, as a human right activist, what does it mean?
Human rights is a fundamental thing that God has given to every human being. And those rights are rights that to every living thing. For example, right to breathe, right to speak, right to mingle or expression, association, right to education, right to good health, and so on. It's a fundamental, just like something that is natural, is born with. Both, everything, including plants and animals, they have rights. So it's fundamental to our collective existence. It is that nobody can take away from you, no matter how dictatorial the person can be or democratic the person can be.
All right. As an international human rights activist, this right, does it have a constitutional backing?
Oh yes. Oh yes, we have a universal UN Declaration of Human Rights that was enacted in 1948 after the Second World War. That over 160 countries is a signatory, 180 countries is a signatory to, including Nigeria. You understand? Is a convention that covers all aspects of rights, that all countries that are signatory to it all over the world are mandated to observe and promote and maintain. So they include right to expression, right to life, right to association, right to good health, and so on. And there are many of it. It's called UN Declaration of Human Rights.
So since it's a United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, meaning as a Nigerian, you can, if you live in Nigeria now and you are in the United States or maybe a country that is a signatory to
almost all the country in the whole world, no matter the kind of government they run, is a signatory to it. But then these rights we are further segmented into charters. You understand? There's where you have a Child Rights Act, a product of that UN declaration. There's where you have a Anti-Torture Act, you know, that kick against any form of torture, either physical, emotional, or psychological torture, that makes a criminal offense. There's another segment that talks about Violence Against Persons Provision Act. So they are all products of this UN Declaration of Freedom. So it has been further segmented that many countries begin to domesticate the one that works for them. So as a Nigerian citizen, you are first a human being before you belong to any nation. That's what the right tries to promote. You are a human being, no matter your color, your race, your language. You are a human being first before you belong to any country or nation, as the case may be. So they try to promote humanity. Now, as a migrant moving to another country, there are certain observations you're expected to fulfill. There are certain things you're expected to meet. For example, if you are going from Nigeria to any country in Europe, you are expected to get a visa, come through the right channel. If you come to the right channel, observe those protocols, that is, pay all the payables and follow the normal channel, your rights will not be violated.
But we have some Nigerians today who travel abroad because of the Japa syndrome.
Yes.
You see some of them cut corners. Some of them don't even have complete papers. You see people in other countries running from pillar to pole because their papers are not complete and all of that. People in that category, if anything happened to them, okay, can you say their right has been tampered with or something, or there will be an intervention from the Nigerian
you see,
government?
There's this understanding we need to know about right. Where one right ends is where another person's right begins. For example, if I say you have a right to freedom of movement, to express yourself, does not mean that you walk into my bedroom, go to my bed, and maybe my wife will be lying sleeping, you just join her to sleep. It's not a right. You get what I'm saying? So, that you have rights of expression does not mean that you will use that right to infringe on other person's right. No, there's a limitation to it. You understand? If you go to any country in illegal means, you are breaching the protocols that Nigeria signed with that country. In fact, you should be treated as a criminal with a bad intention. Because if you have good intention, yes, Japa syndrome, you are going to hustle, maybe you're looking for greener pasture, as the case may be. You should follow the... Even those that are doing that illegal movement knows that they have done something wrong. That's why you see them, anytime they see police, they're on the run. Anything. And that's why they ended up becoming modern slaves to these guys. Because most of these, most of the people that they work with, once they discover that they enter the country in illegal means, they start using them like slave. And you can't complain. They start in free doing all manner of inhuman and degradable things to them. But if you come through the right channel, if you observe any breach of right or protocol or whatever contract you reach with whoever you are working with, you can easily report the person to the authority.
But that's where I'm actually going to. What of people? Because some persons actually got into some of those countries legally, all right, maybe for studies, visa, maybe for people who want business, to stay for business, maybe some persons are relocating, you know, and all of that, and some people have genuine papers.
Yes.
People like that in that country, if their right is being trampled on, is it the government of that country that they should run to, or the government of their own country, like a Nigerian now? Do you need to rush back to Nigerian government, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or you just
there are, let's use Nigeria as a case study. If a foreigner in Nigeria right has been violated, there are steps you can take. One of those steps is, if you are working in a firm or you're a business person and you observe infringement on your right, you hire a lawyer from that place. That lawyer will guide you properly. If a foreigner right is violated in Nigeria and he gets a lawyer, one of the things the lawyer will do is either to raise a petition, confront the issue, sue. Now, if you are writing petition, there are agencies that governments, I'm using Nigeria as a case, so that's the same way it is all over the world. There are agencies that Nigeria set up for such things, depending on the angle you are coming from. In Nigeria, we have National Human Rights Commission, we have a Public Complaint Commission, we have a Code of Conduct, we have Bureau of it depends on the angle you are coming from. You understand? If you're a business person, you have issue. There are places where you can easily channel your grievances. If it's not properly handled, that's the only way you can go back to your embassy and say, okay, I have ABC challenges. Look at the way they treated it. Maybe in intervention or attempting to solve it, I was discriminated against or for. I encountered so SYC challenge. Your embassy now, as responsible as they are, cannot take up the matter, confront it as a country with bilateral relations they have, challenge the situation. If they are also not satisfied with the outcome, they cannot take it to ICC, depend if it's a criminal offense, or they can take it to court, depend on if it's a civil matter. You understand? So there are channels that you can use to address your issues all over the world.
Okay, all right, thank you. We're talking about fundamental human rights internationally, and of course we have an international human rights activist right here. And we're talking about the fact that wherever you are, you have a right as a human being wherever you are. In a situation whereby people are being deported, because we've had cases where people are being deported, and some persons will be deported and they will tell you, I don't even know what I've done, because they just get some persons and bring them back. But then some persons are of the school of thought that nobody can just be deported for just no reason.
Exactly. You know, the person that claims he doesn't know what he has done is being economical with the truth.
Okay.
I don't think that randomly anybody can just pick you from anywhere and just decide to deport you because maybe he doesn't like your color or your face or what have you. No, there must be something. It's either you're an illegal immigrant or maybe you have constituted nuisance or public disturbance, or you're into drug, or what. There must be something that warrants such.
Especially United Arab Emirates.
Or maybe
they've been deporting people from the,
or maybe you obtain a study visa.
Okay.
You understand? Who is supposed to be time ban, and after doing that you decide to stay, meaning that your papers have expired. You understand? If you don't renew it or maybe go for a new ones, certainly you are constituting a nuisance to the country. That's the way it is all over the world. You can rob Peter to pay Paul. You can do anything by deceit. You know, deception is one of the keys the international community frown at. You tell me that you are coming for A, and you ended up doing C.
You even do B and even go ahead to do C.
You understand? It doesn't. That's why uprightness and integrity is key to anything you do. If you are coming for A, let them know that you are coming for A, and you finish your A and you go back. You understand? I don't think that they will just pick anybody randomly and they send you. If you observe, most criminal cases recorded all over the world, most of them that were being perpetrated by foreigners. If you go detail about those criminals, you discover that over 70 to 80% of them are illegal immigrants. And they do that because they have intention of, I must succeed by crook or by enemies.
Not minding what the constitution of the country is saying.
But anybody that enter any country genuinely will not dabble into that. But because this person has made up his mind, I can destroy this place, gather anything and run away and go back to my country. And no responsible government will allow such. In Nigeria, we have a lot of cases in the past where they say farmers and herders are having clashes. And you see some of our leaders coming to tell us that these Nigerian herders are peaceful ones, that most of the ones that are constituting these acts or heinous acts, killing and destruction of farm lands, foreigners that come from other coastal areas. You know, you ask yourself, every responsible government, their duty is to protect their citizen. If you are a citizen of any country, you will not want to join in the destruction of your country.
All right, if you're a citizen of any country, you wouldn't want to contribute or join people destroy your country, because your country is your country. And he has established the fact that a lot of people go out committing crimes because they know they can disappear from that country to their own country anytime. But then, if you commit a crime in a particular country and you disappear, like you've said, and you go back to your own country, if you are being traced to your own country, is there anything your government will do, or they will just release you to the people?
That's why we have Interpol. Interpol is international police. We have AFRIPO, African police, and so on. That's why I say there are a lot of treaties. There are a lot of conventions that, if you saw what happened with this guy, Hush Puppy, it can happen to anybody. Nigerians can go to America. If you think somebody have committed a crime, you work your papers, make your genuine complaint, demand they should be prosecuted in Nigeria. Same way America can do to Nigeria. If you see somebody that have committed a crime in your land and he runs into that country, you do the normal thing. Once the country is convinced that, yes, this person has actually committed this crime in this social land, they repatriate you back.
All right, they repatriate you back. Well, I think time is not on our side. This conversation is getting very interesting because on diplomatic perspective, we discuss diplomatic issues. And today we're looking at the bilateral relationship that exists between Nigerians. If the rights of human beings or rights people, migrants, citizens living in other country is also covered by this fundamental human right. And it's so nice speaking with Gerard Okachi, and of course he's an international human rights activist, and he has been with us on Diplomatic Perspective today to add his voice to the conversation. Thank you very much for being on Diplomatic Perspective.
Thank you for having me.
We hope to have you some other time again.
Oh, yes.
All right, this is the size of Diplomatic Perspective today. Keep a date with us for the next edition of Diplomatic Perspective as we bring you perspectives from different incidents and news stories from around the globe. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Have a beautiful day ahead of you. Bye-bye for now.